Hello, my name is Herbert Gray Jr. Everyone knows me as J.R. Gray. In the last week of January of 2007, I was diagnosed with a thoracic aortic abdominal aneurysm. And if you don't know what that means your descending aorta that comes out of the top of your heart, turns down and goes through your body and connects with all the other blood vessels, had swollen up. And first found it was 5.8 centimeters in diameter, which was way too large already. But they didn't want to operate just yet. They wanted to wait a little bit. So finally, it had grown to 6.1 centimeters. Time to operate. But to get ready for the operation, the only place that would do it was Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, I had to have a lot of other tests done, such as brain MRI and just a heart cath. And there, when I did the heart cath, they discovered that I had 6 blockages of all things. One artery had 2 blockages in it, and one blockage was 99%. I was told that if I'd had a heart attack, it would have been fatal. But all that was taken care of through and by stents, which, thank the Lord, everything is still working great. And it went on, it took 2 years to get ready for the surgery. So on February the 16th of 2009, I was admitted to Cleveland Clinic Hospital. February the 17th, at 7 a.m. in the morning, they proceeded to start all the procedures. The surgery for my aneurysm went fine. They inserted what's called a stent graft. In other words, as I jokingly tell everyone, I've got a new rubber hose in my body, but they put a synthetic aorta in, and it already had all the other limbs attached to go to all the other organs, which, as I found out, the arteries going to my spine had already started deteriorating, so I would have ended up paralyzed if I hadn't had the surgery. But after the surgery, when they went to close me, they found that I had a bleeder, and they couldn't find it. I'd lost 48 units of blood. Now, your body don't hold that much. That's how fast they were pumping blood into me. Yes, I bled out on the table. But they finally found the bleeder, which was wrapped under some old scar tissue from an old surgery that I'd had in 1988. They repaired that, but in the meantime, they had to clamp the blood flow off to my legs, and that's what left me paralyzed. In 1 year's time, I ended up having 10 surgeries, and some of them were small, but any time that you have a surgery, it is a major ordeal. And now I find that I'm going to have at least one more, and possibly 2. Now you might think, after all this, how can you still believe in Jesus Christ and God? Guess what, folks? My faith and prayers is what has kept me alive. Now, if I lose my composure, just understand the burden and the things that my family has to go through. In order to get me out of bed, we have to use a sling. But before that happens, I have to lay flat and get myself dressed. And then I have to roll back and forth just to get my clothes on. Then I have to roll up on my side, put a sling under me, and then turn the other way and finish out the sling. Then we use a lift to get me up, and finally, here I am in this chair. But each day, I thank God for sparing my life and letting me talk to other people about the good works that God can do. Now, this hole in my throat was where I was trached for 11 months. If you don't know what trach means, that's where a tube is inserted into your throat so you can breathe. Because on the very first surgery, both of my lungs filled up with blood, and I was on 2 ventilators, not 1 but 2. I know it sounds like a sad story, but it isn't. My darling wife spent 114 days in the Cleveland Clinic with me. In the last 2 months, she only left the hospital 3 times, and that was to go to Rite Aid to get her medication. I do have a very loving family, and I also have a loving church family. As far as I'm concerned, there's no other church like the Joy Center Outreach, and I'm so thankful to be a family member of that. Now, each day I do have struggles, and yes, sometimes depression sets in and it's hard to fight. So far, prayer is what drives it away. My own doctor prescribed medication for depression, and the last time I was there, she asked me how was the medication working out, and I told her, I said, I haven't taken any. And she said, and I quote her words, "You stubborn old goat, I give you medicine to help you, and you won't take it." I informed her my medicine was prayer. I'll have more to say at a later date, but as of right now, I want everyone to know and understand, through Jesus Christ, all things can be done. And we have a saying, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good.